Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. With my wife and kids, we run an antique shop in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, filled with some of the most unique items we can find. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc.
From home, honey.
Good morning, everybody. Today I'm fishing. Not fishing for food and out on the lake, but fishing for treasures like I usually do. I ended up buying last night a truckload of comic books. Now, for the most part, it's newer stuff like 1990s, 2000s, and a lot of manga, which if you're not familiar with what manga is, it's Asian, Japanese sort of books you read from they're in reverse order. Anyway, they're super popular. Some spin-offs from that would be like Initial D or Sailor Moon. And some of them can be quite valuable. For the most part, I don't know, they're probably not worth a whole lot. The reason why I bought all this stuff, the reason why I bought a whole truckload of it, is that I wanted to, like I said, fish through the books that were in the boxes, because if there are the more traditional comic books with some, Marvel and DC and stuff, there might be just one good one in there, and all it takes is one good comic book to make it all worthwhile. So I've been busy working away. I've gone through 2 boxes so far, and I did find a couple treasures. Let me show you what I got so far. From all those comics that were in the box, I sorted them out and pulled out any that I thought were a little bit better, and that would be like reissues of the Silver Surfer, anything that was in a little bit better condition and what they call like kind of a key issue. First issue of Star Trek, or this, All-Star Comics from the 1970s, and it has the first appearance of Power Girl, who has become sort of her own cult icon amongst her fans and followers. So books like this, and especially first appearance of a fairly major character like Power Girl, this could be worth up to $500 if it was in really good shape. This one's not bad, but it's probably like a 5 out of 10 or maybe a little bit higher. So that one might be worth maybe $250, $300 Canadian in this kind of condition. Hard to say, but you really hope for a really good one. Spider-Man, he's got Venom on it. Now, all of that searching was just really hoping to find a couple good comics, just a couple really good ones. So there we've got Black Cat, the first time she's wearing the black outfit. The Death of Cloak and Dagger. So all these are, when they call it a key issue, it's either the first appearance of somebody, or it's the, maybe an artist that did a comic book like Todd McFarlane or somebody, some of his first issues. It has to be something that is more important that's happening in that particular book. Now this will shock you. A lot of these are kind of like, $20, $30 comics in really good shape. But when you have one that's in exceptional condition and also an important key issue like this, it's kind of a game changer, and I'll tell you why. A book like this, it's important in the comic book industry because it's the first full appearance of a major character. So in this case, it's Venom. Spider-Man's sort of alien suit that makes him all evil. Anyway, if you don't follow the Spider-Man series, it's an important character in the series, and this is the first time it appeared and had a full issue basically dedicated to that. It's not the first time he appeared in a comic, but it's the first time it was based around that. So we know it's a good comic. When you look at the condition, you want to look at sort of the corners to make sure they're not all bent up. Make sure there's no creases in the cover, which this one does not have. And then you're looking for spine folds, so little marks on the spine, which this one also does not have. So you're looking at a comic book here that is probably would grade somewhere around like a 9.8. Pretty high. It's in really good condition. And every time you have a little dent, it takes off a point. Every time you have a little folded corner, it takes off points. A crease takes off a lot of points, writing on the cover. So you want it as close to basically how it came off the presses as possible. Surprisingly, this one comic book can be worth up to $10,000, depending upon what issue it is. In fact, comic in this condition that had the barcode here, which was the newsstand version, last year sold for over $20,000. Now, this particular issue realistically is probably worth $3,000-$4,000, but that still makes buying all of this stuff worth it, and hunting and fishing basically for a good comic in this lot. This one comic book definitely paid for today's adventure. Even with finding a comic book that's potentially really quite good, still means I gotta get rid of all this. All this has to go. And I am not known to sell anime or manga at the store. I might have to do a little research and see if I can find somebody in town that'll buy this all off of me in one go. A lot of this stuff goes back, you know, a number of years and is out of print, so that might be working for me. Oh yeah, I also bought teacups. Clearing out all the guys' comics, and there's these box of teacups. I'm like, hey, you want to throw those in? That and the 78 RPM records, which is actually quite a lot of. As soon as he said that his grandpa was into jazz music back in the day and traveled all around going to jazz shows, I knew there might be some interesting stuff in here. All it takes is a couple good albums to make it worthwhile, but for the most part, 78s like this, which are made of this heavier sort of wax, very, very brittle, are not overly collectible for the most part. They're really heavy, but there are early jazz musicians and early blues musicians that can be quite rare. In fact, Elvis Presley, his first albums were on 78. Same with many of the rockers, Johnny Cash and country, Hank Williams Sr., that do command some good value because it represents their early work. So it is kind of worth, you know, picking it up and seeing if you can get anything of any kind of value out of there. But this is today. I don't know what to do with all this stuff. I'll have to get to the store and offload it, and then really start going around and seeing if I can find somebody to buy all this stuff off of me. So I just got all the comics emptied out of the truck, or most of them, and I ended up making a pit stop. And look at all the radios and gadgets, railway lanterns, and radios and pocket radios and chimneys, transistor radios. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of stuff. So all of this now has to fit in the back of the vehicle for me to take it to the store and try and figure out where to put it all. It's going to be a tight fit, but we'll see if we can make it work. But I can see there's lots of cool stuff, and I'll give it a good home. All the radios and stuff we picked up is loaded up now, and I've got my helper with me, Jason.
Hey.
Who's really excited to be here. And he's gonna help me out by unpacking all this stuff out of the vehicle. So you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, off we go. Did you find the pink piece of paper?
Yeah, I'm sitting next to it.
Oh, you got it? Okay. All right, I'll close the door. Oh, actually, before I close the door, I forgot I packed stuff even back there too. I best get that stuff out. Jason has been given the task, you're gonna need this, of going through the radios and getting all this dust and debris. So you're gonna wanna get a little bit of the cleaner on the top, and not too much so we don't want it to go into the radio. And then give it a good wipe. And magically that should start coming back to life again. So I'm gonna let you work on that while I figure out what exactly out of all of this, which I've just brought in, is going to stay in the store and what is going to auction. Because yes, we're gonna do another auction in December. I don't need this many radios in the store, as cool as they are. That's too many radios. But we're gonna get them cleaned up and figure out what's going where. While Jason is over there cleaning radios, I am over on this side actually getting the store stocked with merchandise, getting ready to open, from our aromatic salts to the Cajun and Kansas City style barbecue rubs. And right now we've got our locally made habanero pepper and ghost pepper sauces, Trinidad scorpion pepper, Carolina Reaper hot sauces. If you want to melt your face off, we'll be able to do that for you pretty soon. But I've got to get all of these shelves up top here loaded with product and inventory so that it's looking great. I'm slowly working my way down the line here. We've got the coffee with the coffee cups. We've got the tea with the tea diffusers. We've got some local hemp products. Anyway, everything is starting to come together, and I am filling up the shelves bit by bit while we wait for this place to be able to open up. How's it going over there, Jason? You've got quite the pile going on. So what we'll do once we get these cleaned up is I have to inventory all this stuff, and then Dad's job is just kind of going to start beginning. I'll come over and give you a hand in a second. I'm just about done over here getting all the hot sauces on the wall. We have a pretty decent variety of different sorts of hot sauces here for everybody to try out when they come through the shop. Yeah, it's feeling like an actual little market, which was the whole idea. Except I've got all this stuff sitting here temporarily, I might add, until I can get this over to the auction house and get into the other side of the store. I even found all these original unbuilt military model kits. So there's airplanes, and there's a big Space Shuttle Challenger there, which is probably going to be fairly collectible underneath all this. People do buy model kits, they collect them, they still build them. They do sell pretty well out of the shop. But I think a lot of this stuff, like these antique mason jars, these stuff like that, that'll probably end up all going to the auction sale. Milk bottles and so forth. Stuff I just don't have room for around the shop. And we'll see what we've got to work with here in a minute. While I'm separating out the items that are going off to auction and Jason is giving a bit of wipe down, I am making sure that they are in working order, because when something goes off for sale, you want to be able to say if it works or if it doesn't. And in this case, the clock is working and the radio is working, so working condition. I'm going to keep working my way through, get these things described, and I did get a hold of the auction, and I can start taking stuff over on Monday, which is tomorrow. So out of that entire load of stuff, I'm keeping a couple of the bigger radios, one of the Transoceanics and a big Marconi, and we're keeping a few tabletops, quite literally a few for the shop. Everything else, more or less, oh, I guess I'm keeping a couple model kits. Everything else is going. So I bought an entire truckload of stuff just to sell it again. But I guess that's the whole point here. What I did want out of that lot, the railway lantern. There's another railway lamp right here. This is right off the train. It says CPR, Canadian Pacific Railway, right on it. And you notice it's missing a chimney. Oftentimes I come across many lamps and they're always missing chimneys. Well, this was a whole box full of nothing but chimneys. So when I'm missing one like that, they're still new old stock. I can just replace my chimney, and there you go. Well, a lot of work to just hang on to a few little things, but between the shuttle kit, the lamps, the bicycle lantern, and the few radios that I kept, it basically pays for everything I got. So you ready to head out?
Yeah.
Okay, off we go. So that's it, I'm back. Everything is sorted and off to the auction. All that work for a few radios, but the comics made it all worthwhile. With the Amazing Spider-Man first appearance of Venom and the first appearance of Power Girl, that should really help pay for everything. So one day, a couple $1,000 profit, not too shabby. Thanks very much for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so. You can comment and like below, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.